what we are watching in the market right now gives you a lot of understanding, which gives a lot of clarity too, towards the direction where we are going, whether it's the news cycle or it's the market sentiment towards the price cycle. When you do look at the Bitcoin price action and try to understand what we are watching, yes, the price is still at the bottom. Yes, the price is still close to the support zone. But if you do look at Ether and if you do look at the altcoin side of things, it's getting really interested. It really looks good. We're getting closer to the end of the month, and one thing is for sure, it looks great. On a weekly, you're coming back to the moving average, trying to bounce off from that moving average. Historically, when you have done this, you have seen the next leg up. If it's the first leg up, you come back down to retest the moving average, which usually serves as the retest before you go into the higher momentum phase. Great. Now here we are. Let's look at where we are right now. So you had the first move to the upside, you came back, retested the moving average, bounced off. And this retest is now serving as a retest of the horizontal range and the moving average, which is what we have seen here. If that stands true, the next leg up is going to be the higher momentum phase in the crypto market. Think about this. If all coins are going towards $2.83 trillion, crypto market at that time would be like 5 trillion plus. That's not a bad deal. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. We've actually shared about this thought process before, and right now it stands true. Yes, it took some time, it took a couple of weeks to play out, but that thought process remains right. Because as of now, when you go into the market, this is what we are watching. This is like 2 hours back. I bounced off from this long-term trend line. And that not only serves as a long-term trend line, but it shows you a macro pattern which is like 8 to 10 years long. So it kind of gives you more clarity. This is something we discussed in the group when the price was still to the downside, saying we may come back up to retest the moving average up here. If you look at the market right now, you can actually see that Ether has bounced off and it's now trying to push higher. So that's great. Some assets like Velo, which is like 100% up for the month, are showing you the price is up 300 to 400% since the call like a month back. So here we are. The price, yes, it took a little bit more than I anticipated in terms of the time, but it's halfway through at least. Yes, it's not at the target right now. It's halfway through, and that's where you look for opportunities, won't you? I mean, if it's me, I would look for buy the dip opportunities in such assets. Yes, if you were able to buy this at the bottom near this range, that would have been the perfect opportunity. And that's exactly what the SI family is getting. So if you would like to join the SI family, use the link in the description below to join the 1,000+ members and take benefit of everything from education to opportunity just in front of you so that you don't miss this cycle. Say, the Bitcoin dominance, we had this thought process. If it is to break to the downside, keep in mind, a bullish pattern breaking bearish is good for us. This is Bitcoin dominance. Right now, you came close to the bottom and you're flirting with those levels. It looks good, actually. It looks good. Now, with all that being said, the question would be, okay, I understand. I'm an XRP holder. Where the hell is XRP? What can we learn from there? And yes, the general market and the general market correction, the consolidation, that all plays in. to XRP as well. So if you do look at the general market, the altcoin market segment, it shows you one thing, that the volume on a weekly, we'll zoom in slowly, but first on a weekly, you had a lot of buying volume, which we didn't push the price a lot up. Right now, again, you are watching the exact same thing. So on a weekly chart, when you're taking the entire altcoin segment, you want to breach this range to become macro bullish, right? So you zoom in, you start going in. And you're like, okay, the last 24 hours, this was what happened. Fine. The last 3-day candle, when it closed, you had a lot of volume and it kind of came with a lot of selling too. So that is not showing any divergence. Whereas the last 24 hours candle, when it actually closed, it shows you it had less buying volume compared to the previous daily candle, but it was able to erase the last daily candle. So buyers are slowly coming in here at the support range, which is actually good to see, like, okay, things are slowly moving into that territory. That's fine. And this kind of actually comes in from Ether, because Ether is the large cap. So the better understanding would actually come directly from total tree, where we exclude Ether to see what Cardano is doing, what XRP is doing, the large cap altcoins, what are they doing? And we end up here. This is the daily candle. You had 90% of the volume in buying here compared to the previous candle, but you didn't actually get 90% price fluctuation. So on a daily chart, it is showing you that we may still come back down, or at least do a retest of these local lows before we go back. So okay, we zoom out. We look at a 3-day chart. We're like, okay, it's still following the same route. We go on a weekly chart. We are literally watching, like, okay, we now have a lot of selling volume, but they're not pushing the price down. So on a weekly, we are starting to see that positivity coming into the market, which we have seen in the recent past too. Look at the candle and its price fluctuations. Once that created a long doji to the downside. The next one tried going to the upside. After that, you started the rally. You saw something similar. The wick, the first long wick to the downside, then the next wick to the upside, after which you started the move to the upside. So the price action right now looks kind of similar. You had a long wick to the downside, now a wick to the upside. If we close the candle anyway like this in the next 24 hours, the weekly candle close will show you that we are going to go back up from here. And that's all coins excluding Ether. So it's not considering the recent fluctuation in Ether. Otherwise, the argument would be, okay, it's the Ether which is pushing the entire market up. No, we are watching a few other assets performing as well, just like, Velo, as I showed you. Just like there are, small cap assets, if you would look at those, say GOG, Guild of Guardians. If you're looking at a small cap like this, it came to 0.18 for sure. Now it's bouncing back up. And if you actually put that on, say, a monthly chart, what do you see? There was an enormous amount of fluctuation, volatility for sure. For sure. Now you're watching this zone being broken to the upside. Now the price is going all the way back to May 2022. April, May 2022. That looks good, meaning you're erasing all that panic which happened with the Terra Luna, Celsius, Voyager, FTX, all that things. And for me, maybe I'm wrong, but my eyes shows this to me as an opportunity. I'm like, great. Now, we entered in this trade a week back. All of you guys on the alerts already would have seen me saying, okay, I'm putting X amount of money in X position in this asset, right? So you already knew where we were. Now we are slowly, literally zooming in just to see where the hell we are. This is a weekly chart. What do you see? Again, the RSI is trying to enter into the overbought territory on a weekly, which for me looks good. The MACD has crossed back to the upside after a fake out to the downside. Sellers got trapped, which is good. Because if the price actually pushes a little bit higher, they're getting liquidated. That creates more liquidity. these small caps starts moving up. That shows you money is re-entering the market. Yes, we had a drop. I'm not saying we didn't. Yes, it didn't go up directly at the first time. But right now, look at the trend. This is something you're watching. There's a breakout. And that breakout comes after a pattern like this, which we call a bull flag. So it's not just one asset in the market. There's a lot of them. And if you're following them at the right time, that's why I say SI family is the most educated, well-educated group in the crypto market who actually gets everything like this. Now, if you haven't smashed that like button yet and you're still here watching the video, I would request, smash that for me. Smash that like button. Now, let's go back and look at XRP for that matter. What are we really doing? What do we see here in the price action? We look at the last 24-hour candle which closed. There was a little bit of selling volume, but the price candle was a lot bigger than what we saw in the last, where we had way bigger buying volume. That's not favorable for short-term bulls, for sure. Now we zoom a little bit out. Okay, what does the 3-day candle show me? 3-day candle is still active with a little bit of selling volume. Price is still going down. The direction is still the same. If you have a doubt, put it on a line chart and look for yourself. Now we go on a weekly chart. And you're looking at the weekly and saying, okay, we literally had decent amount of buying volume, but it didn't produce decent amount of buying to the upside. We didn't get a continuation there. That kind of shows you the market is still not completely mature on a micro level. The confidence of buyers are not back in that level. But the price action here shows you bulls were interested in pushing this asset back to the moving average on a weekly. That for me looks good. So I'm not looking for a huge downside from there because last time we did that, yes, there was a retest for sure to present the same lows and then go back up. So historically, when we have seen these kind of retest of the moving average, we've gone down to retest that range and bounce off. So are we going to do the same? Most likely, if we follow the history of last couple of years, most likely we are going to do that. So that's the story in XRP. But the monthly chart is where a lot of concerns come in. We still have very little volume in selling, but the candle, look at that, man. I mean, that's a lot of selling happening. Who the hell is selling? Most of us were here, the SI family, where I do the one-on-one sessions with hundreds of people over the month. And every month, I see like majority of us are long-term holders in this asset. We have maybe 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and some even 90% XRP. They're not selling, they're buying every month. So if we are doing that from last 6-7 years, at least as 2-3 years for the majority, who the hell is selling? Ask that question to yourself. And especially, this is not the first week of the month. This is the last week of the month. If it's the first week, we can put the argument there. We can actually say, okay, it's Ripple diluting. But right now, it's not the case. And that's one of the reasons why I say, okay, who is selling here? We need to get clarity on that. Because when the market actually trends back up, because when the market is bouncing back up, if you don't see that asset participating well enough, it's going to be strange. You'll have to take wise decision. In SF family, I'll let you know what I'm doing, why I'm doing, which assets I'm looking at, all those stuffs. We are already watching people take bold decisions, take the right choices, diversify a bit for those who haven't done that before. For those who have already done that, they are, in a better shape. So now the idea is not to drop this asset completely. But if you are 90% in this asset and you don't have proper exposure to smart contracts, gaming, infrastructure, you may have to think realistically. If the money is flowing through all of those portions and you don't have it in your portfolio, as a human being, your emotions will become a barrier. Even if you believe this asset is going to $100, you'll miss that if you don't have that emotional balance. Say it goes to $10, say it goes to $15. Most of us are really happy because we've been buying and holding onto this asset for a long period of time. That's enough for us. But the hype in the market will not let you digest that truth. You'll still be looking for 100,000, 10,000 kind of things. And that can be a barrier again. So now, back to Bitcoin, because this kind of serves the index as the crypto market right now. While you do look at this, you can actually understand this enormous amount of selling volume last week. We didn't get to see that in the price action. We still have decent amount of selling happening this week. We don't have a decent amount of a bigger selling pressure to the downside. Rather, this is forming a doji on a weekly where it shows you an inverted hammer. So before that, you had a hammer pattern. Right now, an inverted hammer. So for anyone who's new in the market, just go here, inverted hammer candlestick pattern. You go in this, you take the chart, and you're literally looking for, okay, what the hell does that mean? Historically speaking, what happens just after that? So this is showing you the hammer pattern, which is the first candle which we saw. So the first candle in the Bitcoin actually shows you a hammer. Good. That looks good. That shows you the price actually tried to go to the downside, but then someone pushed it back to the upside. Great. Now it shows you a inverted hammer, but the textbook patterns usually doesn't happen in the market. Here they say you may not have a shadow or a wick to the upside, but most of the time we do get those. So when you're in the market, understand these kind of things actually show you certainty, or at least a higher odds of which direction you're most likely traveling to. And that's what we use for our benefit to be in the market. But again, that's a weekly candle. You may take a week or two to start that reversal and go back up. So it's literally 3-4 weeks of gain. So that's one of the reasons why we play in all of these and try to learn from the 3-day, the daily, the 4-hour, everything as much as possible. And here we are looking at a daily chart. It shows you we had a hammer on a daily last time. That's okay. But as of now, you don't have a reversal signal. Say you go on a 12-hour chart, say you go on a literally 4-hour chart. You don't have a bullish engulfing candle engulfing that range. The previous support is now the resistance. So unless you take that off and become new support, which would be like you break higher, you retest, and you bounce. Now that's okay, that's good. Now in that shape, I would actually be looking at the next level here. Fine, but all of those are micro ranges. Because the trouble comes in when you don't understand the big picture and you're only focusing on the short-term structure. Because any short-term bounce from here can literally be just another lower high and then go back down, trap you. The market can do a lot of strange things, especially we've experienced in the last 30 days. It's been like that. The predictability was high till this point. We called the stop, we moved out, we were buying all the way. We didn't get the absolute bottom for sure perfectly. We were averaging down after big drops. After that, we've seen the choppiness in the market. We've seen strange moves coming in the market. Even though we tried going up, it became a fake out. We made a double top. Then we started going down with the impulse. So the predictability has been very bad in the last 30 days. Whereas, overall, the cycle, it has been very good. That's one of the reasons why we look for this and see, okay, if the market is about to trap a lot of people, they are going to first give you more predictability, build your confidence back up, let you put your money in. The price would be somewhere high. You would be thinking about a 200,000 Bitcoin, and then all of a sudden they come back with that choppy move in the market. So expect those to play out clearly. Guys, again, if you haven't smashed the like button yet, consider doing that. And if you want to join the SI family to get all of these updates plus hundreds or thousands of updates on the SI family about the entire crypto market, plus the macroeconomics, follow the SI family. I'll be there. You can go through the one-on-one session with me about your portfolio, getting my thoughts on your portfolio, the way you have aligned your portfolio, the risk tolerance, your upside potential, and everything from here. So guys, I'll be there in the next video. Bye for now.